Well, it looks like we may have some good news when it comes to the PlayStation Plus Essential, Extra, and Premium tiers that Sony is continuing to roll out across the world. Previously, they released it in Asia, like in Malaysia, for example, where people were recording the PS1 classics, realizing it's running in the PAL 50 hertz version. And that's unfortunate because the doesn't look the greatest now on newer TVs. You'd rather have the NTSC 60 hertz version. Well, now it's started to roll out in Japan, and well, things are looking a bit better there when it comes to the game selection and how the games are running. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the SpawnWave Plus channel, make sure you subscribe down below. Let's head over here to VGC. They went through, grabbed the entire list of games that Sony has, translated them over, and we can have a look at some of the games that are offered under the PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium tiers. And right off the bat, they are indeed running the NTSC 60 hertz version of the game, which actually makes sense considering Sony has access, as I say, to the Japanese language versions of the games, so it's pretty easy to just release those. Whereas the reason, to my understanding, that Sony is using the PAL 50 hertz version of these games for the PS1 is because there's a lot of language options attached to them. So when they take the games, they want to release them in all different languages across the world. They go to the 50 hertz version because the language settings are already there. And it's unfortunate because that results in Sony trying to band-aid fix it by doing things like patches that tries to play around with the 50 to 60 hertz, and it's resulted in some unfortunate things like ghosting in the game. I mean, most people would prefer just do the 60 hertz versions of the games and call it a day. But based on what I'm seeing from Sony, they don't necessarily want to put that kind of effort in, which is unfortunate since Nintendo, with their N64 games, you just have the option. If you just want to use the PAL version, the 50 hertz version, for whatever reason, maybe you're in Europe and it's nostalgic to you, you can do that, or you can just use the 60 hertz NTSC version. It's just an option you pick. That's it. But with Sony, they've defaulted to 50 hertz for most regions, it appears, and they're just trying to fix it up through software and emulation. Not the best method there. However, at least in Japan, it looks like they are using NTSC 60 hertz format, and we're still waiting to find out what happens when the service rolls out in the Americas and in Europe. In North America, that's rolling out June 13th, so 10 days or so from now, we'll be finding out. I will definitely be looking at that service on the main channel and kind of going through it and seeing what exactly they have to offer, because the list that was released for Japan is surprisingly good. Like, there's a lot of value here. There are a lot of games that they added in that make sense for the region in Japan. And if we'll just scroll down here and take a look. These are all the games that are available in like the PS4 and PS5 extras tier. That being like $100 for the year, but they essentially blow up PlayStation Plus and add a bunch of stuff to it, which includes a bunch of Ys games here. There's Celceta, there's Ys 8, Ys 9, and then the big one I noticed, and I mean, it makes sense, again, being in Japan, but like all the Legends of Heroes games are here, and as someone who is starting up Trails of Cold Steel, the fact that these are just all here is a massive advantage, since I'm looking for them physically, and it's kind of tough to find them at good prices, specifically like the first one on the PlayStation 4, which is what I was looking for. I found like the Steelbook case, and it was a pretty good price, but you then look online, if you don't find it in like a secondhand shop like I did, and it's really up there in terms of pricing. But the fact that it's there means more people may try it out. Now, I don't know if that's going to make its way here in the US, but it's noted here by VGC that they're still like 100 titles or so short of what was promised when it comes to this extras tier for those PS4 and PS5 games. So I feel like the last thing they want to do is remove games, because then they have to replace them and then add like another 100 on top of that. But the list is pretty lengthy. There's a lot of pretty good value here, and they even have knack. So from what I can tell, all the games that we saw previously released in that first rollout are here with a bunch of extras on top of that. They also have Resident Evils. These are under the classics, which from what I can tell, all the PS1 classics are still the same. So they didn't add anything really there for this rollout in Japan. But they do have like a bunch of the Resident Evil games. They have like 4, 5, and 6. And I'm not sure if that's the streaming through PS3 or if those are just like the remastered PlayStation 4 games that they count under the classics kind of tier as well, alongside like BioShock as a remastered game. I mean, look, they have Resident Evil 4, 5, 6, Umbrella Chronicles, remaster, Operation Raccoon City, Code Veronica, Dark Side Chronicles, Umbrella Corps, Revelations. So they have a pretty good list of titles here. And I'm so curious to see how this thing is going to roll out in the US now, because we have 60 hertz NTSC in Japan. We have like the 50 hertz PAL version in parts of Asia. And what are we going to get in the US? Are we going to get the NTSC 60 hertz version? Because the US is the most important market at this time from what we're seeing from Sony and the way that they are transitioning like to be more Western focused. There's a very important region for them. So I don't know if they would want to roll out this service in that state where it's like, oh, it's 50 hertz PAL version. The games don't look the greatest in terms of how they are running on like these larger flat screen TVs, and we're supposed to be the premium brand and all of this. It would seem strange to me that they would want to roll things out that way. And the fact that they have advertised like 400 some odd PS4 and PS5 games, and they're still like 100 short. I kind of get the feeling that the rollout in the US is going to look quite a bit different than what we've seen so far. But I'll definitely be checking out the service when it releases in the US starting June 13th, and we'll kind of take a look around, see what games they've added in, and I guess how the original PlayStation games work. And I'm really crossing my fingers hoping that Sony has the NTSC 60 hertz versions ready to go. And I'm trying to think of when their first I guess edition would be for this service, considering it released starting in parts of Asia last month. Would the initial like edition of games be in June, or would they then go into July and say, okay, now we're adding some PS1 titles, a PS2 game, some PS4 stuff, and so on there? But I guess, like I said, we'll find out more in about 10 days, and I'll keep you guys up to date on it. But let me know what you think about this one down below, and how do you think this service, in terms of, I guess its overall condition, is going to show up in the US on June 13th. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.